please subscribe. Yo, so today we're going to be recapping the feature premiere from today that covered franchise and March to October. If y'all could do me a huge favor and leave a like on this video and then comment down below what change you most want to see added to franchise or March to October. They said that franchise this year takes an important step forward, and that is all about putting you in that GM seat and having full control over a franchise. You can control as much as you want to, or have the CPU control as much as you want it to. And today we're going to be going over the changes coming that allow you to do this, as well as changes coming to March to October. They also mentioned that this is another foundation year, so I think we should be seeing some even bigger changes to both of these modes in MLB 22, looking towards the future. Number one is you can give your team positional needs, team needs, players to target, players to shop, and untouchables. And I feel like I should mention this now. I am by no means a franchise guy. I'm definitely a noob when it comes to franchise, so I'm not well versed in all the details, so I don't know how much of this stuff that we're going to talk about in this video was already maybe at least a little bit of a thing. But to me, this sounds really cool, and I'm excited to see with the CPU having control and then maybe having manual control of everything, just how that might change these things. And when you're choosing these things, I'm just very interested to see how this changes franchise, free agent signings, extensions, contracts, everything like that. Number two is there is a new trade metric. It has contract performance, which seem to be about 25% each, and then attributes seeming to be about 50%. And I'm interested to see, just like pretty much everything else in this video, how it really impacts franchise and the way it plays. I think this could be really cool, and hopefully will make for better trade logic, because I know a lot of times in the past it has just not made sense at all. Number three is player evaluation tracking has been revamped, and there is a new WAR tracking feature, and these things will help determine how players will progress or regress as time goes on. And then this is going to be helped by a new player metric similar to the trade metric, and this one's about 25% performance and 75% player attributes. And then this determines the player's value but not his trade value, which will determine how he will do in his career as time goes on. Again, it's determining his player's value, not the trade value, and the player value determines how he will do as his career goes on. And I think this is pretty cool. Again, this is though one of those things where I feel like I really need to see it in action and see how franchise is actually improved by the implementation of this feature, because I feel like on paper it sounds awesome and will hopefully deal with some of the terrible regression that we do see within franchise and also prospect development, stuff like that. So I'm just really interested, again, with this feature, just like everything, how this one actually plays out when added into the game and once we actually get our hands on franchise for MLB 21. Number four is that the contract logic system has been improved, and this year is paired with the player metric like we talked about earlier to help make contracts more realistic. Kind of a short one, but I think it's pretty cool, and I'm hoping that something like this is maybe in Road to the Show too, because sometimes to me the contracts don't seem super realistic in there. So I'm excited to see, again with this one, how it's implemented and see if the contract logic really is improved and a lot nicer this year. Number five is the addition of depth charts to franchise and both March to October. This is a brand new way to look at your team's roster. It's a visually easy way to understand your ball club. You can see the starters, the players overalls, as well as a player ranking to see how they might perform. You can also see future seasons to see projections for how the roster may change and how a player's performance might change, which I think is based on those player and trade metrics that we talked about a little bit earlier. And within the depth chart, you can extend contracts, make trades, and look at free agents for each position, which I think is really cool. And then you can also see your team's budget, and all the info within the depth chart is always changing as time passes and as moves are being made and happen within franchise mode. And then, as we mentioned, this new depth chart is also in March to October as well as franchise. So this seems really cool to me. I feel like this should really help with rebuilds, especially multi-year ones, and just franchises in general, trying to look at projections when it might be good to call somebody up, stuff like that. So I'm definitely super happy to see this feature, and I feel like I'm going to say this with everything that we talk about in this video. I'm a broken record at this point. I just can't wait to get my hands on it and see how it actually plays and is used within franchise. It seems like a lot of fun. It seems like will be really helpful for a noob like me. and I'm excited to use it. Number 6 is a budget system, and there is no longer, you guys gave me all the info on this on the last video, there's no longer a weekly display for the budget. It is now a yearly display, and then budget logic has also been improved, specifically in regards to the postseason, where teams may have the opportunity to earn more revenue if they make it to the postseason, and then how far they make it. So that's awesome to hear. Again, I'm not a huge franchise guy, so just based on the comments you guys left on our last franchise video, it seems like y'all should be really happy with the addition of this new budget system, the new budget logic, which seems like it's going to be making a lot more sense than whatever that weekly stuff that was going on is. So that's really cool to hear, and I'm happy for you franchise guys. Number 7 is stadium creator integration. You can put created stadiums within franchise and replace a team's ballpark with it. There's a stadium assignments tab, and you can set the stadium for every single major league and minor league team. And I love this, but there's a catch, and there's a catch which makes me not love it as much as I could, and that is that you can only have 30 created stadiums saved. So even though you can replace all major league and minor league ballparks, the stadiums for them, you can only have 30 unique stadiums if you're trying to go with completely new ones, right? You could always keep some of the major league teams or all the minor league teams if you wanted to replace all the major league ones and completely rebuild and relocate every team, redesign, whatever. But it still would be cool to have more save slots for the created stadiums. 30 is a good amount and would cover every major league team. I'm assuming that's kind of why they settled on that number, and I'm hoping though that in the future we have more save slots, but I feel like 30 is a good starting point for the first year that stadium creator is going to be integrated within the game. Number 8 is also where we are switching to the March to October focus of this video, and this mode seems to work pretty much the same as before, but just, you know, a few changes, few improvements, and some new features, stuff like that. So this year prospects can have fast track opportunities. Unlike previous years, you will be able to be player locked as a minor league prospect in a minor league game within March to October, and depending on how you do, this will help accelerate a player's gains and progress them to the majors faster, potentially helping your team. So that's really cool. You know, say you do a rebuild as the Rays and you really want to get Wander Franco on the team. A opportunity like this within March to October where you're successful at it will help you fast track him on his path to the majors within March to October, and I think that's a really cool feature. I feel like the addition of new opportunities, stuff like that, into March to October will always make it better, and I'm excited to hear this, and I feel like it makes prospects just a bigger deal within March to October. Number 9 is kind of piggybacking off the last one, and it's that call-up opportunities are just overall better this year. You're going to have more players to choose from when you get the option to call up a player, and then you can earn more boosts for the potential prospects with those minor league opportunities to make the prospects better, faster, and potentially fast track their path to the majors, and you can boost your favorite prospects and make them legit major leaguers within your March to October run. So I think this is awesome. There's a ton of prospects, a ton of minor leaguers in the game, and I feel like this just makes them a lot more valuable within the March to October mode. So I feel like this is something that I'm happy to see and cannot complain about at all. Number 10 is the postseason. There's new logic under the hood within March to October to make the postseason more in line with the regular season experience. I'm so happy to hear this. Instead of just putting you into the game in the middle innings of every postseason game, there's going to be more critical situations instead, just like the regular season, and it should make the postseason progress a lot faster than it has in previous years. I don't know about y'all, but the postseason was one of the biggest reasons I did not enjoy March to October, because once you got there, you had to play every single game from like the 5th, 6th, or 7th inning on, and it just took, especially on the higher difficulties, at least for me, a really long time. And that's not what I wanted from March to October. For me, I want March to October to be a bite-sized, narrowed down, just fast track of franchise, and I feel like how the postseason worked before just completely defeated the purpose for me of what March to October was. So I'm super happy to hear this. Number 11 is team affinities, and the rewards for team affinities compared to last year within March to October have been increased for making it further and further into the playoffs. So the better you do, obviously, the more team affinity rewards and points you will earn, and those rewards are increased. I don't know by how much, they didn't say, but increased compared to last year. I know that people have varying opinions on this and everything, but I feel like once we got the double points, the taste of that last year, just having to go back to what it was, you know, they doubled them on accident for a little bit of time. Having to go back to the old ones just made it seem extremely slow. So I'm personally happy, as someone who doesn't really play March to October, to have the rewards increased, and I feel like it actually might get me to play the mode more, especially with the fast-tracked postseason. So I'm excited to hear this, and I'm definitely excited to hear what you guys think about that and all the other changes in the comment section. Number 12 is that lineup and rotation logic have been improved. Your lineup should not be shuffling as much as previous years. I know a lot of you guys were telling me that you would set a lineup and then it just wouldn't stay the same, and that should not be happening, at least not nearly as much. I feel like it shouldn't be happening often at all. I feel like it's going to be a rare occurrence if it does, based on what they said. And then you can also access your lineup and rotations from pretty much any area of March to October, so you can always be adjusting them based on changes that are made and things that happen within MTO. And whenever there's a pop-up, such as, you know, a trade that's happened, instantly from there you can go to your lineup before doing anything else. You can go to your rotation before doing anything else and make changes to it based on that change to your team. Number 13 is player morale. This is a quick one, but it can help with things like contract negotiations. If they are having a really good time on the team, it might be easier to make them re-sign. And unlike previous years, player morale no longer will impact a player's attributes. And I'm super happy to hear this, mainly the attributes one, because sometimes I felt like it was really hard. The little that I paid attention to it when I played franchise, but when I did, sometimes I felt like it was hard to gauge how a player's morale was going to be changing, and some of them it almost seemed impossible to keep it in high standing. So I'm happy that it at least doesn't affect the attributes, and I'm interested to see how it works with the contract negotiations. Number 14, another quick one, is that minor league attributes are back on player cards. I'm really hoping that they just continue to add more and more statistics within March to October within franchise, because I feel like there's not enough of them. That's also kind of what I was seeming to get from you guys in the comment section, is that there's just not enough statistics for players, but also for teams in general within franchise specifically. So I feel like the more stats we can get is always amazing, and I'm at least happy that they mentioned that we're going to be getting those minor league stats back on player cards. I know I said attributes, I'm pretty sure, but I meant stats. And last but not least is number 15. This week, sadly, and it doesn't seem like the next 2 weeks either, at least in the future premieres, which kind of sucks, but this is always cool. There's a new card series. It is called the 42, and it's paying respect to the special edition cover athlete Jackie Robinson, and there will be 42 players in this series at launch. They didn't say if they were going to add any as the year goes on, and those cards will be spread throughout Diamond Dynasty. Some of the cards within the 42 series at launch will be including Bob Gibson, Willie Mays, Ken Griffey Jr., Mariano Rivera, and of course Jackie Robinson. Those guys are just some of the 42 players that are in the new series. And then I don't know if it's some or all of them, but just like the Diamond pre-order packs that had those new legends last year, you're going to be able to pick from some of, if not all of the 42 diamonds from some pre-order bonuses, those diamond choice packs that you might see from the pre-order bonuses. So I'm really interested to see how these cards work, what the overalls for the cards are, and if all 42 of the players that are in the series at launch are going to be in that diamond choice pack, or if it's only some of them. So I'm really interested to see all that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got some information from it. I'm definitely curious to see your thoughts on all the changes, any questions, stuff like that, down in the comment section. To me, as someone who doesn't play franchise a lot, it seems like all of these changes are pretty cool, and I feel like there are some really good changes happening to franchise. But I'm curious down in the comment section if y'all who play franchise a ton think it's enough, or if it's seems a little bit underwhelming, anything like that. So definitely let me know, feedback, questions, all that good stuff down in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, social medias, all that good stuff. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you as always for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.